Corey.
This under control, perfect.
July 21st, 2023, 07:30 hours. North Dakota, Early County Weed Board meeting.
Call the meeting to order. Let's call roll. Dan, can you call roll?
Roll call.
Here.
Couldn't think of your name.
Larry Falkenstein. Dave Nearing.
Marion, Secretary Treasurer Leon
Guys, gotta
Peterson.
give your names on a roll call.
Yes. So members absent.
Denise Brown and Cole Anderson.
Thanks. Let's start with the open discussion for members of the public. If you'd introduce yourself.
Thad Soltram. Just got a few acres. I got a letter, obviously I'm here because I got a nice little, I love you letter, from the, weed board here. And it just said, I think the big issue we have on the property that's mentioned here is, the absent wormwood. And I talked to Liana. Our intent was to spray it this year, but we've got a renter out on the pasture, so we haven't sprayed it this year. Just due to the short notice of when I talked to, Corey Palm, I believe was the applicator for the chemical. I was like, no, spray it with the drone. But due to the short notice and the inability to deconflict with the renter and make sure, we weren't gonna have any issues, I didn't have him spray over at that pasture. The intent that I had for that was to chemically spray it, but I think, with verbal permission, or I can write a letter or, whatever is, the appropriate method, to get approval. But I'd like to graze it. Right now, we run a small herd of goats. When I say small herd, probably about 50 head. Kind of looking at the intent would be to have the goats graze that during the grazing season next year to probably not eradicate, because obviously you guys are smarter than this stuff. Most likely you're not going to eradicate any of the noxious weeds, but to at least set it back. And if you come over, we do have a few acres over by our house. That's about 3 miles to the west of the mentioned property here. We don't have any more, even though there is some present when it does pop up goats. That's the first thing they actually, if you watched them last night when I took them out, because I'm basically shepherd during the day. But long story short, they beeline right for the wormwood. They're just waiting for it to grow back again. So that's just as simple as it is. And if you're more than welcome to come out to my property either, and watch the way we do things. But I'd be more than willing to help if there are, just kind of listening to you guys chatting beforehand a little bit, game and fish and things like that. I mean, there's guys out there with goat herds, that would probably do it for, I'm not offering my services for free, but I mean, probably minimal to low cost, or in conjunction with the guys that are out spraying. I don't think it's a mutually exclusive, approach. I don't think anybody has that kind of narrow-minded, at least I would assume not, narrow-minded approach to how we can, deal with some of these noxious weeds that are out there. And obviously goats have been used on federal lands for probably decades at this point. I know they've been using them since I was a kid. I'd go out to the Cheyenne grasslands and there'd be guys out there for leafy spurge with the goats. So, if the board's approval, that's what I'd like to do for my personal property would be to, and again, anybody that here is more than welcome to come out. I got time, pretty wide open for the next month until I go back. I teach, over at Bismarck State College, so I teach there. But outside of that, I'm free up until for the next few weeks. But, that's what I'd like to do with verbal permission. Like I said, I can write a letter and have it formally approved or anything like that, but that's kind of where I'm at, unless there's, anybody that has a big issue with that approach. And again, I think, to piggyback on that, I said, there's some pretty firm wording and I think that's appropriate, in the letter. I know you guys are kind of talking about it beforehand too. How do you deal with, adjacent properties, failing to, I'll use the word failing very specifically, failing to manage, the rangeland, and now you see noxious weeds coming up and now I've got a problem on my property where when I bought it, it was a nice tall stand of grass, but due to overgrazing and lack of, any kind of attempt at eradicating or, minimizing the impact of these noxious weeds, now I've got a problem. So what's the, again, really firm wording, but I know you guys have the the century codes and things like that, to support your actions. But that's what I'd like to see is, probably a little more, maybe, teeth behind it, that's firm wording, but the actual, the rubber meets the road is what's important to me, because now I'm being impacted. And again, I have a renter out there and I probably could have charged more, but he looks out there and sees the wormwood creeping in and he's like, there's not as much grass there. Even I remember just a few years back. So that's pretty much all I have. And again, like I said, I'm willing to, assist with grazing some of these areas that are maybe more sensitive. Maybe, chemical isn't the best option. We all know we got a lot of tools in our tool bag for dealing with this stuff. So that's all I have. And I appreciate your guys' time.
You bet. Leon, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, if I may interject. Yeah,
Yep.
so Thad and I, we talked, for
Yep.
what, 30 minutes at least?
At least,
Yeah, at least. And I agree with him. I've seen goats work like amazingly and whatnot. And we kind of talked a little bit and he would actually if we have somebody that doesn't want to, use chemical, he wouldn't be a bad option to use to bring in, because I've seen the impacts with goats that are just unbelievable because it's crazy how they go for the noxious weeds first. So, and they love leaf spurge.
Yeah.
Leafy spurge, I've seen sheep really doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. So no, and I'm completely fine with that. Just a suggestion to you in the future for if you I think I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, I can't remember, but if you do get a renter, make sure that you have a clause in your contract that states that they are responsible for any noxious weed control. Obviously, Century Code, we still have to contact the owner of the land,
Yeah.
but then you can reciprocate out to your renter and say, hey, it's in your contract, you have to take care of it. And it's just a little less burden off of you. So,
Yeah.
and that's one of those things that a lot of guys overlook once they do get into it. I know that.
Yeah, I think in a long-term lease, that might be a viable option, but in a short-term lease, yeah, which is where the situation we're not to be.
Oh, no.
But I totally understand what you're saying.
What's the property location?
You know where Doug Schonert is? Where he lives?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right, it's on that same corridor. So
Okay.
he owns the 40 and we got the 120.
Okay,
that
sure.
we're talking about. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention.
Yeah,
So,
McKenzie, up in Trigg County, McKenzie, on that McKenzie Road, they got hit pretty hard. So this is all the notice control that wrote that day.
Yeah.
That is, to say, well, it was 3 days of notice controls I wrote in that time frame. So, and I think we found the problem, and I've already addressed that with the correction line there, where the state trust line has all that, they got that whole section of land there at the,
oh, yeah.
on the corner there.
West, yeah.
Pretty sure that's the problem. So I had a long talk with the trust guy. He's brand new. He took Jerry Sauter's place. I don't know if any of you guys knew Jerry or not.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Sauter, not Sauter. Sauter, yeah. He took Jerry's spot and like he said, it's a learning curve for me and I'm trying to learn all this stuff and trying to make sure that everybody complies. So he's actually got in contact with his renter and they're gonna go out and take care of that. But yeah, there's so much wormwood along that. So, and as far as, I probably at this point in time, I only got 10 people that haven't contacted me yet. So, but other than that, everybody has contacted me and we come up with a plan for that 200, I think it's 249, isn't it? McKenzie Road. Yeah. So, in that area, it was pretty tough, but I think we're heading in the right direction. And no, I agree with you 100%. If you've got something in plan, and that's all we want is a plan in place.
Yeah.
So that we can get moving forward. Obviously, we all know that you're not gonna eradicate any weeds.
Yeah.
But if we can get quote to a number where it's manageable and it's not gonna cause a huge mess outside of, your property or something else, then I think we're 100% on board, so.
So another question for you. Like spurge and deer and eating the spurge and spreading it through their feces and so forth. Does that happen with?
No, it's goats, due to the way they chew, it's different than cattle.
Okay.
Grind, and studies show about 97% of the seeds are.
Wow.
Or whatever the word is, non-viable at that
Uh-huh.
point,
Yeah.
ground up to where, yeah, so you're only pushing out maybe 1 to 3% of the seeds,
That's
which
amazing.
is why that's why they've been doing spurge for so long.
Perfect.
And there's some of their stomach acid too that kind of
Okay.
neutralizes it. And another known fact that a lot of people don't know about, but once they chew it down to a certain level, the oil on their hoofs actually affect the root system.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it somehow, it'll kill the root system off.
Find it.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. I'm glad you guys have a plan.
Yeah, we do, yeah, we're.
Thanks.
Yeah, so.
Am I mind if I sit and listen?
Not at all.
Open meeting.
Yep. Okay. Has everybody reviewed the minutes?
Yes.
Any additions or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve, second. Motion by Anderson, second by Falkenstein.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay. Review bills.
So the first two are the bills that we have for, that are just automatically paid. And we'll be having one more two more chemicals coming in next month, because we bought from Bill Walker again, the chemicals that were approved by Bill Walker, so, and he doesn't send it until the end of the month, so we'll have a couple more bills in August from him, so. You're looking at that first one, our telephone is the 2402, we pay for 4004, and then the weed tablet, we pay 4004. So those are the two ones that automatically come off from Burley County for our bills.
Leon, can I intercept there a little bit? I have a question about this because we ran into this before, where I was asking why our bill can't be pulled out because it's showing a total of $316.41.
Yeah.
And our bill is 60-some bucks. or
80,
80 bucks, yeah.
some bucks, yeah.
And why
I think
they can't separate that?
I could ask.
Because they're
I'll
throwing
ask.
the highway departments, all their stuff in with
It's
it.
actually, if I printed that whole thing out, it's everybody's, it's 20 pages.
I know, I've seen that before.
It's 20 some pages, so they put it all in one.
Yeah.
And they pretty much do that with everything, because I had a little search for the new budget and, for the 2024 budget for, I had a search for that through all the things too, because and they lump it all into one and send it, so you just kind of have
Yeah.
to, you kind of have to dig through and find it, so.
Right. Okay, I know, but like you say, when you do print it all out, you got, there's at least 20 pages.
Yeah, exactly, so I just find ours and.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one would be, the second one would be gas and postage. Gas is $3.99.15. Postage reimbursement is $30.60, and then, we didn't have any service on our vehicles this month besides the, oh, that was last month, because we had the tire deposit.
Put the tires on.
Yeah. 16 nails in our tires, you missed that one.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Went through McKinsey to look at some stuff and got back out on the interstate, and all 4 tires. 16 nails total. So,
Yeah, I went back out there and I don't know, just didn't see anything on that street,
yeah, we just were, unless I picked it up somewhere else, but I can't. So
Well, I can see-
Picked it up. So that's our bills.
Entertain a motion to approve bills.
Second.
Second. Roll call vote.
Craig Anderson,
Yes.
Larry Falkenstein,
Yes.
Denise Brown,
Yes.
Dave Neary.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Move to old business. Do we have any old business?
No, I got none.
Okay. Okay. Move to new business, budget and financial report.
All right. Budget and financial, let's see here.
Get a copy of that.
You can, here, I'll stay.
Here, yeah.
I'll stay there.
Use the book, use that.
Let's see here, range to date salaries is $8,099.14. Fringe benefits, which is your medical, dental, FICA, all that kind of stuff that they take out, 6232. We haven't paid the building rental yet. travel and lodging, 486.67. Pretty much just for all the, North Dakota Weed Control Association meeting. Dues publications, same thing. We had to pay for our dues for the meeting there. As of right now, they had an oil change. That's the repairs and maintenance, the oil change here, the tire rotation. Contracted services. It's just, when we were paying almost, what was it, $890 a meeting?
850.
850 meeting for them to come in and talk to us or sit down and take our minutes and whatnot. Office supplies at 44.94, which was, pens and paper for the printer as of right now. Gas and fuel, obviously 33.99.15. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Jeez, that's range today. That's this month. So, continuing education, 175, and that was for me to, take a few more tests. Chemicals were at 33,436. That was our first buy of, chemicals from Van D and Nutrient Ag Solution. And spraying as of right now is 25,575. We are still within range on our salaries, fringe benefits, travel and lodging within range still. We are over a little bit on, over $20 on, the dues and publications.
That's what we want to go over, not on the big stuff.
Yeah, and then, repairs and maintenance, we're still way underneath. We are over on contracted services. I'm not sure why, we only had 5,000 in there and it was, I know they were charging like $10,000 a year just to,
Yeah.
you know. For
I
that
think
money.
the reason that happened is that we determined that we were going to terminate the contracts.
Yeah, they were, yeah, like 10K a year is pretty steep. Office supplies were still within range. Postage way within range because we don't go through that mailing service anymore. I bought envelopes and I'm using their stamp machine, which only costs us 63 cents every time I use it. So that's between, that's what we're using for sending anything out for postage because it's way cheaper than going and having somebody else do it for us. And I can do everything right there on the computer. So it makes it way easier for me. So, fuel, we're still within range. Miscellaneous, which we just found out is our phones and our tablet, which they put under miscellaneous, we're still within range. Continuing education, still within range. Chemicals, we definitely won't go over the $100,000 mark this year because we had so much extra
Inventory.
so a lot of carryover, and we should actually be pretty close to hitting the mark this year for you, Brad.
Yep.
So.
Okay,
And
anybody got any questions for Leon?
second page. Oh, that's, yeah,
Oh, that's-
there's another, never mind, go ahead. Any questions about the budget?
Yeah. Go ahead.
The financial, the revenue.
Yep.
Excuse me. Right now, with bringing in, everything from weed control as far as selling chemicals and, the 50/50 cost share program throughout the county, we're at 4,334.90. Miscellaneous revenue is, different things like, our grants that we bought in and everything. And that must have been a grant from last year because I just turned in our other two grants. So as of right now, we brought in back to the county, 11,235.15, which will increase, quite a bit. We've got, we put money out, but we're gonna get the money back for for all the new computers and whatnot they gave us, we only had to pay 25% of the 10,000 that we had to use to procure the new mapping system for the vehicles. So we'll be getting that money back after July. We also have our TAG grant, which is our target assist grant. The money's coming in from it comes from the state of North Dakota. We get $5,000 every year. This year we use it on chemical procurement. was gonna use it on something else, but it was just as easy to just give them a copy of our chemical bill, and then so we're gonna get $5,000 back from them on that. And, for our lap voucher for payment, I used last year's, everybody from last year for lap. And then I'm going to, something, I'll jump into that later, but, I used everybody from last year for lap, so everybody that we had for lap that we could use up to the point of, because we get $17,500 back from the state. And I got $18,098.91. So we'll be getting that back too. So we're gonna be getting quite a bit.
Have they determined the amount that, or are they going to max that out? We'll max that out at 17.5.
Yeah, for the last biennium. So that starts in June of 2022 and goes to June of 2023. So all these is the money procured. I did talk to Richard though, just to get a little bit off topic. I did get off of Richard and I talked to him. And I feel that just from going through all the books and everything, that we aren't getting enough back from LAP. So he said, next year when you put it in, said, put in your full amount and whatever other counties don't use, he said, he'll try to get it, try to roll it over to us. Now, that's been done in the past. When I was in Cavalier County, that's been done in the past where I've gotten more, but the more we show, the more they're gonna give us, just like DOT. The more we show, the more they're gonna give us back. So the more work we do on DOT, all the DOT lands and whatnot, they're gonna give us more. Just like this one here, they're just gonna give us more because obviously we have a need for it. And there's counties out there that don't even use the LAP program or don't even use DOT. So the money sits there, and I've talked to the DOT and they said the same thing to me. They said, if you don't use it, if nobody else uses it, and we have that money sitting there already procured for that, and we're willing to help you out a little bit more. So they're not gonna go and cover a whole thing, but they're gonna help us out, so. That's that.
Okay. Any questions on the financial report? Appreciate your willingness to build that relationship with that department and
Yeah,
go after that. That's a huge help to the county.
absolutely.
Okay. Let's move on to
Motion approved.
no, we don't need the motion to approve that, do we?
Budget, yeah. that was it, didn't you?
No, not until we get to the budget update.
Oh, that's the one, yeah. Never
Yeah.
mind. Yep, my bad.
So
Controls. Anybody wants to go through this is notice controls from, July 19th and from July 13th to July 19th, I was out and about, got quite a few complaints in different areas. Just phone complaints. I did get some, noxious weed complaint forms, but it was only, there's actually only, out of all this, there's only actually 3 places because one came from, I think everybody within that cul-de-sac that's down off of Burley Avenue, Princeton Avenue. It's, you know, you got Burley and then by the airport there, going east and west down to Sibley Park. One of those little home developments down there. That seemed like one person must have told everybody to turn them in because I've got like 10 for just that one person. Yeah, I went in there and I actually wrote, instead of just writing one notice to control to one person, I wrote 7 notice to controls in that whole area. Because there was other people that weren't compliant in that area, so it kind of works out that way sometimes where somebody will call in a complaint, but when I go in there, I'm like, well, this land is owned by this person, this land is owned by this person, this land is owned by this person. And I just go on and on. I just kind of go around the whole area. And then I write up whoever that I have to, because if I'm gonna go into an area, I'm gonna.
was it all Wormwood?
That one was completely wormwood and just a little bit of Canada thistle.
Okay.
So, and the other one was wormwood and Canada thistle too, and then that was the first one, and then the second one on Burley Avenue was the same way. It was just one person complained, but they complained on one person, but there was just a ton in that area. So I wrote up everybody. I don't know, they probably don't like that, but I can't just go in and single out one person when there's weeds everywhere. So, and nobody's complained to me about that, you know, so we've got, all those noxious controls, all the noxious weed complaints are taken care of. There are just a few notice controls that went out 2 days ago, so I haven't heard anything back from them, but I've got about a 95% compliance in all these. There's 46 of them here, so I got about a 97%. Nagels called me. So
Yeah.
they did, so we set up a plan with them too, so I know that was one of your concerns, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nagel.
Nagel, Robert Timberly Nagel. They bought some land out there in his area and, tons of wormwood on it, but we've come up with a plan for it. And so everything's all taken care of there on that one. Quite a few guys came in and just bought chemical, and I've been seeing that a lot. I get a few guys that do, the lap program. As of right now, in our lap program, we have, 72 total participants.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got a pretty high number of participants in that, and everybody's really willing to work, and they understand, and like, you know, and like Thad was saying, I mean, this is pretty strongly worded, if you guys have ever read it. You know, it is pretty strongly worded, however common the same context. I have to abide by the North Dakota Century Code and how they tell us to write it. There's actually, from the state of North Dakota, there's actually,
A template.
a template that we use that they tell us that we have to use, so it's written by lawyers, I'm sure, just the way the jargon is in there, it's pretty tough, so. And if anybody calls you, I mean, you guys kind of know your laws and rules and regulations, if anybody calls you about it, whatnot, and just answer the questions as good as well as you can, and just refer them back to me. That way we can set up a plan, and that way I have it on paper, because when I use my notebook, everybody that calls me or talks to me, I write it in my book, write why they called me, the reason they called me, what, you know, and everything like that. And then I save all that paperwork so that I know that they have talked to me and I can go back on it and take care of it that way, so. Any questions, comments?
No.
Notice-
Very thorough, thanks. Lab application review.
We have, I've been pretty much just, when the laps come in, I've been pretty much approving it, so just because of the, you know, we have such a short spraying season. And I know we have a meeting every month, but, Brad's guys have been knocking the laps out of the park. I don't think we have any left, do we?
I don't, I see you added a few like. Oswald and, yeah,
Yeah.
some of those.
I don't wanna, and not to take a Jimmy John away from you guys, but I just don't wanna hold anybody up.
Right.
Because obviously we have to have these,
They have to be timely.
we have to get these noxious weeds sprayed, you know, obviously, once we get into August, we have to kind of lay off a little bit because, the weeds lay dormant. So, and then they're just kind of going into, just kind of waiting to pop their seeds. So we, you know, you could chemically cut them, but it's just not gonna do anything. They're not getting into the root system, so. That's why we kind of wait till after August and start hitting it again, because then they're starting to, push nutrients down into their root system, so. We do have one guy that did his own application, fill out the form properly, Clark Brown.
I know.
You guys know.
I think I know him.
Oh, is that your?
My husband.
Did he do it properly? He did, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't know what he does.
He did a great job.
Can we vote to approve that guy?
Yep, so he did it, yeah, everything was filled out properly, he even put a map in here, he's got all the areas that he did everything. The total cost on his, you didn't put the total cost on, oh, he didn't do a great job. I did put the total down. 360, 450. 5. Nope. $553. Would be his total, if anybody wants to take a look at it.
You wanna look at?
I won't scrutinize him today.
So you looking for an approval?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve that lap voucher.
Moves to approve. Second by Anderson.
second.
If you want to recuse yourself from this vote.
Yep, I do.
Okay.
Roll call, Greg. Greg Anderson,
Yes.
Larry Falkenstein,
Yes.
Dave Marion. All approved, motion carries. There was, from the last meeting to this meeting, there was 21 more lap applications that I turned in, so.
Okay.
So, and yeah, like I said, Brad's been knocking out of the park, so we got this one approved.
All right.
Oh, dang, I forgot about this.
Oh, we have
Dang,
for long bill.
Furlong bill, my bad. I had it sitting over here, my bad. Sorry about that, guys. Furlong bill.
Move back to bill review and approval.
Yeah, we have to do a roll call on this one.
Yeah.
Furlong. Dang it. That's sitting over there. My bad, guys. Right now, he's got, $60,780.00. That's quite it's been a while for that, but he's such an amazing spraying season this year that it's just unbelievable. Well, to get-
Well, on the control, I'm gonna say that I've noticed the control's been pretty good and seen your guys out a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It isn't one of the, only once or twice that we not be able to go out right away in the morning.
Yeah.
That's very, very rare. Usually it's once a week. You can't even move the trucks out of the yard. You know, when you wake up, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's already 2 degrees.
Yeah.
That is not, I've done this long, since
Yeah.
18 years old, so. Pretty amazing spray season, really has been, and not tremendously hot, where it was, so.
Well, and it's good that it's been that way too, because we've certainly had some cyclical issues with this, some of the noxious weeds.
It's,
So it's good to have that
it does.
coincide with each other.
Anything to add on the lamps?
Okay, so, look for, I'd entertain a motion to approve the bill from Furlong.
I make the motion. To approve the bill.
Second,
Well, second.
Falkenstein seconds.
Roll call vote, Greg Anderson,
Yes. Yeah.
Larry Falkenstein, Denise Brown.
Yes,
Yes,
Mary, yes, and the motion carries on a roll call.
thank you.
Shit, sorry about that, I just,
No
I
worries.
was sitting over there and, yeah.
The important thing is we got to take care of.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's it for, lap.
That's it for.
Okay, Commissioner Schwab,
Yes, here.
you're next, sir.
I didn't know I was gonna be on the agenda.
Oh, you want to be on the agenda?
Huh?
You want to be on the agenda?
We can take you on.
Yeah. You know, I have a problem with the weed board right now in the sense that not you folks, but it's a technical problem. And can you hear down there everything?
Absolutely.
We're doing the same thing with the highway department over here. Everything gets recorded. Not meetings that, if you're coming in here and, minor things, but meetings like this. I did not like not having the notices put out properly. So we will be looking for somebody to come in here and do that. And if anybody's got an objection, you can tell me that's how it's gonna be. I will not allow things not to be published in the Tribune the way they're supposed to be, according to the Century Code. It's my responsibility. I administrate this group here and it's gonna get done. So I'll be looking at that. Second thing is I'm gonna work on merging this weed control board into the highway department. If anybody's got any objections, you better bring them up now.
How are you gonna do that with the highway department?
Well, it isn't so much that you're going to be part of the highway department, but there's gonna be a closer association with the highway department. How many county roads do you guys spray?
All the county roads, all the
Yeah.
state roads.
So you're there already. But it's one of the things that we've got resources out here that we can use to make sure that we don't, violate public meeting laws, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I've talked to Leon about that, and Leon said I can take care of it. Leon's job is to make sure the weeds are killed. Not to worry about this other stuff. And there's no department in Berkeley County or even in the city that doesn't have somebody sitting here taking notes, even if you've got this, and making sure that legal notices are published. We cannot violate that law.
I agree.
So the thing about it is, I'm not looking for somebody to bird dog this thing or anything. I don't want to bird dog it. But I think by fitting it in to the highway department, by the way, I had a question here. Do you guys pay the highway department rent?
Mhm.
Right. That's gonna help me budgeting too. I'm gonna tell you right now, one thing I can have is, and it has been past practice in the highway department, a lot of these departments, do not transfer money from one line item in your budget to another without informing me. It isn't, you can't have an open season on that. The reason for that is I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. If there's a shortfall like they had down there at the auditor's office, I cannot protect the department without knowing if money's being transferred from one line to the other. Highway department's not allowed to do that. The extension isn't, and this will be no different. And the idea behind that also is, transparency. You get a budget. I can understand when you run short somewhere, but the authority to transfer money has to go through me, or I can't protect you guys. So,
I understand that.
the thing about it is, you make a transfer and I don't know about it. Don't count on me to go to bat for you.
Yeah.
Something hits the fan. So the thing about it is, it's really simple. I'm not trying to micromanage because I don't think you do a lot of that. But if you do it, before you do it, let me know.
I don't think we've ever had that
We
issue.
haven't.
Well, whether you have, I'm not accusing you guys.
No.
I'm just telling you,
Yes, I understand.
that's the way I can keep from throwing people under the bus, because I've never thrown a person under the bus. I'm the guy that's got to answer for this, so these are a few things that we're looking at. And, like I said, you would be a division of the highway department. I mean, they're not gonna come in here and tell you how to run the weed board or anything like that, but we can share resources better.
Could I make a couple of comments and ask a couple
Sure,
of
go ahead.
questions? So I want to go back to meeting notices, and that is absolutely vital that we do that, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Do we have somebody in the county that does that for the commission, for planning and zoning, any of the others?
Well, it usually goes through staff down at the auditor's office. And I'm gonna be talking to Marcus after this. And this is the thing. If we get somebody to sit in on some of these meetings, like one of the most important meetings in the highway department, and they are going to record them now. That's why you're seeing this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like safety meetings.
You bet.
They're not recorded, and we terminated a guy for harassment a while back. But we never had, and it's really funny, 3 months before that, I actually spoke about harassment. Told them, don't do it, guys, but it's not on tape. And this is my way of protecting everybody can go back, because they can come back and say, well, that was never said. Or maybe somebody on the board goes around, you know.
Sure.
So the thing is, it's all for protection.
You bet, understand that. You know, that was my question on meeting notices, if there's somebody internally that we could do that, go ahead.
Can I interject on the, I did not violate state laws. The only thing I violated was the above and beyond county law, which I was not informed of. And I was told that I should have asked somebody else besides the person that's in charge of that.
Yeah,
So
Leon,
there was no violation
when
according
you
to.
don't, to me, it's a violation if you don't let the public know you're having a damn meeting.
I did it. State, it went to the paper. Everything,
That's Steve's law right now.
I understand that.
If that's the way you want
But
it.
it went out according to state law. I did everything properly. I was unaware of the county had an above and beyond thing that we were supposed
Wow.
to put it on something else.
Then it wasn't according to the county.
But there's a learning curve also.
There's a learning curve. Learning curve here is,
So one violation and I lose it.
we're gonna be talking to staff, and with somebody taking notes and doing this, that can be shared with the county. Because I think the county needs, the highway department needs the same thing.
Okay, let's move on to my next question,
Sure.
topic, which would be, weed board being part of highway department. Now, here's what I would suggest. This is just a suggestion. But I would suggest that Commissioner Leon, you get together with the ag department, because they're going to probably have a different take on this.
With the what?
Ag department, state ag department. There's certain things that, are required from a weed board in the state ag department. So, I think you're probably going to, by doing that, probably not be in compliance with what they want to do.
Well, there are some counties that already have done this. And I'm researching them.
Okay,
It can be done, but the thing about it is, I want this thing separate. Just the way it is, but shared resources.
sure.
This is more a budget
Efficiency.
protection thing.
Just so that you know, I know a few counties that have combined. And I would propose to you, go look at those counties and see what you think compared to our county. Because their noxious weeds are out of control.
Pardon me?
Their noxious weeds are out of control. Ramsey County, Towner County, Pembina County. Those are the ones that I know of right away, but their noxious weeds are out of control because they try to combine it. And they just don't have the proper people to do it properly. These guys are doing multiple jobs and trying to do everything, but I'm doing one job. I'm doing the weed officer job, which is the secretary, is the treasurer, is the administrator, is the department head, is everything that does it. And I feel that I'm doing an amazing job.
Dan, we had this talk before, and we are gonna get a staff up here.
I think we should, I think we'll have to bring it to the board and the whole commission board.
We're gonna do this legally. One person cannot run this entire thing.
I have a question, Commissioner. So Leon, he said that he didn't do any state law violation. So was somebody from the county there during orientation to tell him the process? I know when we, in different jobs, when we have orientation, if there's a commission rule that needs to go to the employee, you can't just make something up and then say he didn't follow it. You have to give him that
Right.
notice. You can't just say, nope, we're not gonna do it. That's not fair to the board or to the employee. You have an employee here that has done very well with the weed board. And you have to give that employee some respect and some time to learn the county processes.
I understand that, but one employee can't do all of this. Leon and I have talked about that. There's checks and balances. There's none here.
That's why you have a weed board, right?
That's why you have a good board, but one person running everything is not checks and balances.
Can you find a default in that since he started?
Well, when I get notified on my computer that why aren't the meetings published ahead of time and stuff? Yes. I don't know why you guys, why anybody wouldn't want to go along with this because it's gonna be, the benefits are great.
What's the great benefit?
The benefits are great of having the resources right outside that door.
Can you
You
tell?
know,
I
they
knew
they
it.
can help you with a lot of things. And you could probably help them. The thing about it is, as I've said before, one person cannot work 18 hours a day and continue to do that. And I know you want to do that, Leon, but there comes a time when it takes its toll on a person. And that's why, like I said, everybody that has meetings such as this either has staff or somebody. It's just like the commission meeting. You got that group behind you and they're taking notes. They're recording the roll calls and stuff. That's the way it's gotta be.
I'd like to interject just as a contractor, because I've been doing this since they started. I've been the contractor forever. So I started when I was 18 spraying. This is by far the smoothest this program has run since Furlon's been involved. Now, I think Leon should take some of the credit. We've got a good board. If people attend. And what happened in the past, Commissioner Schwab, is the nice thing about when somebody is handling the billing like he is, he can look at it and go, oh, this is Falkenstein. My sprayer didn't, before it'd go to the county and then the auditor's office would try to do the billing and they maybe couldn't read one of my guys' handwriting the best. And then then the bill would go to the wrong spot. We wouldn't have, and it was back and forth, then so the weed officer would bring it back to us and then, it was a month late, stuff like that. And he knows the landowners and stuff because he signed them up on LAP. So I get you're right. Nobody can keep working 18. Well, I still do, but no, but I get what you're saying there. But I also am, I'm agreeing with Denise. Somebody dropped the boat on the Burley County by not informing him in the, did you ever even get, like, this is what your job description, that you are responsible for those.
Well, see, that argument can go two ways. But my point is not the billing. If you want to bill all you want, actually overbill, so we have a lot more money coming in, I care less. But it's the public perception that it's really getting. The highway department can help go through some of these laws that are coming down. Now, I'm gonna give you an instance over there. We had crews going out, working on that landslide out there on Apple Creek Road. Hot, no wind, sun coming straight down in. Lo and behold, they run out of water. Drinking water. That's a problem for me because I'm sending out crews and not making sure that they've got drinking water. The solution was now we supply the drinking water. However, this is where I don't think you understand what I'm getting at on these technicalities. We cannot supply drinking water in those big orange cans. Because we put ice in them. That's not good for workers out there. First responders cannot have ice in their cooler around their drinking water because it's not good for them. These little laws are killing us on these bridges and stuff. You cannot miss them.
I think,
And go ahead.
I think you misspoke when you said technicalities. It's been one technicality and it was a single instance. I think.
Exactly.
And I'm awfully frustrated that we've, for years have searched for a not competent, but exceedingly competent weed control officer. And now we've got that.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that we don't throw the baby out with bathwater, quite honestly, overreact over one issue that we correct.
And that was my main complaint. Why were we not notified by the county that we made a mistake and that we needed to file that form instead of running to the commissioners and causing a big woo-hoo about it?
Yeah.
It could have been done through a simple, has to be done, when they realized it wasn't being done. Why weren't we notified, the board or even Leon?
Why, my question is, why did the lady that was the stenographer, isn't she here anymore? Who
Well,
made that decision?
From
The board
the board.
Well, right there, you guys made a bad decision because she was handling that and knew what the laws were. You can pass the buck all
That's
the way,
$10,000 a year.
huh?
$10,000 a year.
For $10,000 a year to have the stuff done right, not people.
Well,
Oh, I object to this doing right. You can go to the auditor's office and ask how bad they were.
They were terrible.
They were terrible.
Terrible.
They never got their minutes sent on time.
We'll
Their
find one.
bills were horrible.
We'll find one that isn't terrible.
I'd
You actually don't need
rather keep it in-house.
full-time staff. There are part-time people out there that are just kind of on their own that'll sit down here. They're not gonna charge you a lot. Everybody thinks you gotta run into these Bailey, these outfits. It's not necessary. All I'm saying is we need to find somebody that'll sit here, do the roll calls, do the minutes. So this guy can go after the weeds and stuff. He's got enough to do.
and that's,
I think he's overloaded.
and we brought that up as a board, in the past to
Yeah.
the commissioner that had held the portfolio. And that was pushed back on,
That was what was.
the fact that we wanted to have just one part-time staff person that would do those types
I'll
of.
help you get that. I'm not telling you to go and change everything here. It'd pretty much be the same. All we gotta do is find somebody that'll come in and take notes.
Perfect,
I mean, what's so hard about that?
exactly.
That would be it then, just notes. Because everything else, I need to handle.
She can take, wait a minute. She can take the notes. She can take the roll calls. And she'll be jotting down probably some of the minutes. Even though we are recording. But as far as the building and the other everyday stuff. You guys figure out how you want to go.
Well, that sounds reasonable as far as I'm concerned.
Because we have to control the building, because as Brad stated up there and Leon, we have run into so many problems where the bills were done incorrectly.
Yeah.
If it goes to the weed officer, he knows what jobs were done.
Leon wants to take care of the bills. Fine, I mean, I have no problem with that. But we have to have somebody in here independent doing this, and it doesn't have to be a full-time staff.
Well,
You know, that you're paying $10,000 a year for.
that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Commissioner Schwab, will you be sharing who this part-time person is and what kind of experience they have with the board? So the board is aware of who is coming in to do this?
Pardon me.
You said that you'll find the
No, I
part-time
never said
person?
I would, will advertise for it.
I can interject. I think the board, that should be the board's responsibility to find somebody I could put an ad in the paper
Sure.
and then the board can have somebody, but it's just gonna be for notes and minutes during meetings. That's what you get.
And just let them know that so much a meeting.
Yeah.
And they'll sit here and they'll do what the legal beagles want.
How about, excuse me, how about the public notices and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
that's-
Will they be
Well, it would be,
responsible for that,
we would have somebody that would, make sure that's done right if you want. But the thing about it is, if we know who's doing it and has the time to do it. And I know Leon's doing a good job. I'm not picking on him. The thing is, it's a big job. And I've been in construction business for 45 years, and I know one thing. You take on too much, suffer on the backside, because you just can't keep up with it all. And this will help, and will help with the legal part. And then we might use that same person over in the highway department.
Will the highway department do stuff?
Well, the highway department has meetings, and I'm gonna see how these recordings are done and stuff.
Mhm.
But, that needs to be done.
So Commissioner, can you tell
Sure.
me what the, purpose of the weed control board members?
Pardon me?
Can you tell me what the purpose of the weed control board is if you're gonna put it into the highway department?
Same purpose. It's coordination. It's sharing resources. You know,
You
the
keep
highway
saying
department-
sharing.
the highway department may turn around after I get done talking to Marcus today to get somebody in. If we do, then we're gonna share it over here, that person.
You
No.
said that there was gonna be a lot of resources. Do you have a list of resources, the benefits to joining the highway department? It's a big step. And I would like to, as a board member, see the benefits and see the resources that are gonna be
Okay,
combined.
but I'll bring you the benefits at the next meeting. You bring me disadvantages. Because I know this department has always been pretty much its own unit. But the way things are now, things have changed a lot. You know, like just the matter of fact that we're recording this meeting right now. There is so much crap coming down the road that legally, I worry about. Whether it's drinking water, whether you go out and you spray and a dog runs through the weeds and all of a sudden croaks and it's your fault, whatever. We know when you go out to spray, you spray weeds. Some people try to tell you, well, and I've had this happen in our business. They think you're out there spraying their pets. Well, we know that's not true. But the thing about it is, I have determined that if something like that would happen, and that's a bizarre incident, but let's use it. The government always goes to the side of the complainant. You know, and the thing about it is, if you don't comply with everything and watch every step, then the government wants to know why. That's another thing. So we do have, like I said, we have resources over there. I will give you a list of what's gonna happen, why, and the benefit. But as far as this not being an independent, show, no, this would stay independent.
Just to interject, if you don't mind, I believe that myself working with the highway department, I said, I believe with the highway department, working really well together, and I've used. Wayne has let me use quite a bit of his resources and do stuff and make sure that I had this and that and the other thing. We're working well together now as an entity. And if he needs something, and his guys have reported to me weeds, and I've talked to them about a bad road here. And we've been working well together as far as even using tools and using this, using that. they're gonna let me use the welder and everything this year to rebuild some of the stuff on the sprayer because I don't like the way it's done.
Okay, I'll tell you guys what. Here's a dead set to say this way. Then we get that stenographer. That has to be done. Let's see how it works. But if I find things that are, gonna cause problems down the road, this is gonna happen. We'll set it aside for now. Then I won't have to bring you a list. You won't have to bring me a list. But the two things are, make sure you don't transfer money line item right now. And we do need to put an ad in the paper for a part-time. I don't care if it's somebody, a book writer could do it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, let's get that done.
We had one that was awesome at it, and that
Yes.
was, she worked for the county and stuff, and then she went on. That was great. Joyelle.
Yep.
And she was keeping books for us or doing that for us. And she was awesome. I don't know if we can talk her to come back in once a month for this, or what she would want.
The problem, the perception of this whole thing is that the weed board meets and it's good old boys and girls club. And, nobody has any say on any this and that, which is why you want somebody independent doing that. I agree with you guys. If you don't want to pay $10,000, I don't have a problem with that. But we need somebody taking these roles and
I think Jim just said that,
Yeah.
right? He just said that, Jim Nail. I don't know.
Trail, yeah.
so
Okay.
I'll leave that up to you guys on how you
Okay.
want to do that, but it has to be done or I'll do it.
No disagreement there.
There we go.
Yep.
And this is, once again, I repeat myself a lot, but I don't want to throw anybody here under the bus. This has to be done.
Things have gotten that bad and that picky that
It is so picky right now. You cannot believe some of the stuff that
you're seeing at the.
this project down here that we terminated that bridge. That wasn't because we couldn't do it. It's the government regulations from day to day change. And it's hard to keep up with. And I mean, they're adding on to that, on these projects right now.
Thanks.
From the initial cost up 50%.
Well, I believe that.
And I mean, it's just terrible.
Everywhere that way.
This is gonna protect everybody, so I'm gonna leave that up to you
Perfect.
guys, how you wanna do it.
Thanks,
And
Commissioner.
then we'll put it in the budget for next year.
So just one thing, just to add to your line item thing, which we all agree with. But we're fortunate enough to be one of the boards that actually bring money back into our entity. So, and that helps you quite a bit too, where we can say, hey, we've got this, it's the exceeded revenue that we brought in from this, and this. So can we move it to this line item, which makes your job exceedingly easier, so.
Yeah, the only thing that stenographer needs to do is be trained on getting the notices in to the paper for meetings. And I don't know if we have to, I'll have to check that, if we have to publish minutes. Have we been?
Yeah, so what happens with the minutes, we don't have to publish it to the paper,
Why?
because that's, I know you don't like me to quote century code, but that is century code. We give it to, the auditor, which holds it, and then I give it to Mary Singer, who posts it on our website.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and then I finally got, after you brought this up, I finally got from Mary Singer, there's an actual list of all the public people that want the publication for the agenda, which I never got before, but I did comply with the century code that states I only have to send it to the paper on record. So all our meetings were sent to the paper on record, our agendas were, which is century code. But I was unaware that Burley County had above and beyond exception to that rule. So now I have all those. So all it is I go into my email, I click on all them people, I attach the agenda and send it out. And if somebody doesn't comply with that, so if I get a notice back that says their mailbox is full or yada, 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 or else they didn't receive it, I send that link, I forward that to Mary Singer so that she can deal with it. And that's how we're dealing with it now. But yep, so one goes on the website, that's from Mary Singer, and the one on record goes to the auditor. That's just for the minutes.
By the way, how are we keeping track of these meetings on the tape? Are we doing this electronically? One of those things you just stick into a computer?
These owls record everything and it goes to that computer. That computer gets uploaded to my email link. And then my email link I can send out to everybody. So all these meetings are saved, and anytime you record, you have to do
Because
just
the
like.
time is coming, we're gonna have to put these on.
Oh, you mean live? Is that
No,
what you
no,
mean?
no, live.
Oh,
We may have,
onto the
I'm just
website.
telling you what's
Yeah,
coming.
really kind of
We
website.
may have to.
We
have
do,
that on the
we do
website
retain them.
so that people don't have to come to meetings.
7 years.
So you're saying that maybe they're gonna have to be on public
Yeah,
access?
so we don't wanna lose some things.
Yeah, and they have to be saved for 7 years, just like anything else. Yep.
So really, if that's the way you wanna go, I have no problem with it. We need one independent person in here.
Sure.
If they cover our asses.
I don't know if I gave you one of these before, but that'd be a good thing for you. I mean, just before the next meeting, discussion.
Century codes.
Just to read it over, just kind of know what we have to deal with on our level too, so.
I realize that you probably have to deal with a lot. It's unbelievable, but I'm not trying to belittle this board and stuff. I think you guys are doing a good job, and Ann's doing a good job. I'm looking down the road.
Sure.
And, you know, eventually this board is gonna change. And so to get this stuff established so that the younger people come in, they're gonna do it. And I don't think there should be any problem finding a person. You know, that'll come in for a meeting or whatever.
Give that a shot.
Give it a shot.
Thanks, Commissioner. Have you got anything else you wanna talk about?
You guys have any money trees out there that you're spraying?
We're not gonna kill those.
We avoid them, we go around them.
We gotta stay out of the drip line.
Yeah.
I've never seen one yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
The drip line, the drip.
let's move on to new meeting location.
It was brought up that, but now we got these owls.
Yeah.
It was brought up before that, with you with the last meeting. That's one reason I put this on the agenda. They talked about going to the,
Tom Baker room.
Tom Baker room in the county building. And that's recorded live, yada, 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 yada. But, since then.
Who's gonna go there?
It was just the talk amongst, Marcus, and I can't remember his name, the kid was just me earlier.
Dan.
Dan, we had a little scuttlebutt, Marcus, Wayne, Dan and I, we had a little scuttlebutt about, all right, if these don't come in and they don't work properly, are we gonna move it down to the Tom Baker room? But
No, we're gonna,
as of right now, I think this works, and it's not up to me. I'm just interjecting my opinion.
Right.
And it's up to the board to decide whether you guys wanna move down or just keep using these out.
hey, this is what I'm talking to you about, shared resources, right here.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, if they don't work, I will make sure that they do work. I mean, somebody standing in that door passes gas, I want to record it. That's how serious I am about this. We really need to do it, and we're kind of testing it now. We're gonna find out at the safety meeting. You know, because it's a longer room. And there's more people in it. We're gonna find out how this works. But, we just have to do it.
Just
Okay,
if
can we
wanna stay-
take a vote? on
Yeah,
this?
if we wanna stay in this room, I
Before we get-
wanna add something to it so that we have it all
Yeah,
on one,
let's-
all on one motion. As of right now, we're recording on Dan's. As soon as this gets done, Dan's gonna send me this in an email link. The only reason I can't get on it, and I guess there is 3 different tiers for NRG. That's the people that do our computer stuff. There's 3 different tiers. We're on the first tier, which we only get email and just limited amount of help and whatnot. If they move us up to the top tier, we get Microsoft 365 so that we can, if somebody wants to come, to call into our meeting remotely, they call into our meeting remotely. If somebody's not, in the area and still wants to attend the meeting, they call in remotely, we can do all kinds of different things with the higher tier. As of right now, I don't know the number on that. I can get the number.
Financial number?
Yeah, I can get the number and then bring it and use it as old business for the next meeting. We can decide on it then if we want to. But, or else you guys can just vote it in and say, hey, let's just move up to the highest level of NRG.
Here's my belief on this is now that we're doing this, I'd like to see the results. And then this is something that I think we should talk, then we can have the numbers,
Okay.
economic numbers for next meeting.
I
think
think
that's it.
I think that you guys are the guys that decide how to.
Yeah.
Right.
How to do this. I thought they were using
Yeah, So
those thumb drives
I
or
would
whatever
suggest
to
tabling
keep these
until next
meetings.
Oh,
How are we storing them? I'm not a computer whiz. I can tell you that right now.
Well, the
If they go to your computer and your computer burns down,
no,
how?
It actually-
How that work?
It actually doesn't. So if we get to the top level of the NRG, that gets set directly to NRG. They
Who's
store,
NRC?
NRG is, our national resource, whatever. It's the people that we contract to take care of all our computer problems. Help us out to get our programs up in place, store things like this. Like all your meetings, all your commissioner meetings, that goes to the NRG database and gets stored there and held there so that, like you said, if something happens to that one building.
all county.
Yeah, tornado.
it's still all safe.
Statewide. I think
Right,
you
yeah,
guys
that's
do
right.
it, yes, you-
Well, it's up to you
We're
guys
out
to
of
make sure it's stuff.
Yeah, it's state.
It'll be secure. It'll be secure.
It's up to you guys to make sure it's secure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna micromanage and stuff like that. It's,
All right.
Okay.
Everybody, okay with us tabling this till next meeting? We have the information on it.
Yeah.
Then we can figure out, perfect, that's what we'll do.
And then I will send out a copy of this so that you guys can all review it, this video. I'll send a copy out to everybody so you guys can review it, and that way you can see and look at it and say, hey, yeah, this is probably a good idea, or no, let's think of a different way to record or whatever, but I'm thinking this must be pretty good. I have no idea.
Mr. Chair,
you guys.
Yes, sir.
I am, wow, in order to table something, you have to have a motion.
Yeah,
and a second.
right.
to it.
Yep. Entertain a motion to table this.
I make the motion to
Okay.
table this topic.
Second.
Yeah.
Who gonna pick? Larry, what do they do?
Difference.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Table, thanks.
Motion carries.
All right.
Leon, contractor, weed officer report. Brad?
I think I said earlier, I mean, we've got a lot of the spraying done. He's got a few miscellaneous things that he's been, working with Christopher on. Like you said, we'll probably spray for a couple more weeks here or whatever, and then he'll shut us down for a while, and then we'll coordinate with him. Most people that are, like, we get complaints or notice controls, those will go to kind of a fall application, and hopefully they'll do something themselves before then, but then, we'll have some fall spraying, of course, and blue strife is after the piping plovers come off, then we'll start working on that.
And that's the state law, the piping plovers.
Yeah.
We cannot apply it.
Federal.
Federal law, my bad, federal law, yeah.
And little birds.
And, like you said, I mean, it's been a long time, but I don't think, I mean, there's a lot of times in the past, we've had to call employees and, shut them down before they even get out of bed, I mean, that kind of thing. So really haven't had hardly any of that go on. Minor breakdowns, a few, other things where you get tires and things like that, but nothing, the truck is completely down for a long period of time, which is abnormal, I would say, and not a lot of people get stuck and, a lot of downtime, that kind of thing. So a lot of spraying was accomplished. I haven't heard anything about beetles. Have you collected beetles?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I haven't heard any report on the beetles. I had a couple people call me and,
Yeah, they called me too. So-
okay,
And we just, I mean, where we collected in, Lake Shiloh was horrible this year.
that's always been a good site too.
It was horrible this year, but we found one down by, Sibley Park.
Just that in the river?
Yeah, where they, where they got the little camping area and everything, that's it right there in the town of Washington. Oh, we found a site down there, it was unbelievable. We went down to look at it after we, we did some test spots down there with that menu. Going down there, it was I mean,
Gary Hartman started that site.
those plants are, I have never in my life, and I attest that it must be because of the soil type down here. They must get a better resting in this soil down here, the soil type, because where I come from, it's a loamy clay. So I think it's harder for them to get in here and also it's silty loam here. So I think they get a better chance of getting in, but there was plants that were completely defoliated. I mean, and there was bugs just hanging on these plants. So, Parks and then a couple of farmers came out with me. And then the ones that called me before we did the sweep. And then I told the other ones to come out. There was 3 other ones I told to come out, but then they showed up. So, but we swept and we must have got at least 100% more than that huge Lake Chida place. And it's just a small spot. We got at least 100% more than they got there.
Wow.
And so we moved them around, but yeah, it was unbelievable. So we did that, and then the other guys I called, and, you know, they're like, well, I didn't get any bugs. I said, well, I told you to show up, so. But that's.
But anyway, other than that, I mean, I've said a previous meeting, Commissioner Schwab was in your last meeting, but it's super important that the weed officer works with Christopher, not so much with me, although I get along with Leon, you know, but he works more directly with Christopher, and then Christopher works with the sprayers, and that is, like, Christopher never got a kick out of Gary Hartman, that, you know, that's here nor there, but I'm just saying, that's a super important thing in the success of the program, you know, and he's been coming from a new place, and then I think he was a little leery, Leon was a little leery that you guys are gonna handle all that, you know, and he's found out that, you know, that's the best way for this to get the job done, so he relays stuff up. We have a huge whiteboard like the size of that screen, instead of, you know, sticky notes or stuff like other weed officers, that, you know, he puts it on the board, and my sprayers take a picture of it on their phone, and then they take it off when they're done with it. You know, for these hot spot areas that aren't landlords, right of ways, you know, somebody calls in and Jim Heiser calls Leon and says, hey, there's weeds along this right of way. We haven't sprayed yet, Lincoln Road, whatever. That's all the communication work. And then Christopher communicates that with, Chris sprays too, but he communicates that. So everybody knows when they leave the yard in the morning, who's gonna do what. Maybe they're gonna do 2 right of way spots on the way to do East Brown's property, you know, so they're, before they meet there to spray.
So you'd say it's pretty seamless at this
It's
point?
gone really well.
Good.
And, you know, that's always scary when you get somebody new.
Right,
You know, because we're
We've done
pretty
that.
set in our way, you know, and that's not always the best either. But it's, you know, Leon's had some interjection on it, but he sees the efficiency of the program, so, right, Leon? I mean, you.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, you know, obviously you come in like a bull in a china shop sometimes when you get a new job, but, and obviously there was some animosity at the beginning, but as of right now, I think we're, like you said, it's seamless. It's unbelievable the way we're working together, so. And I can attest to it just from driving from here to there, our county, well, even if you drive across the river.
Yep.
And look at Morton County.
Yep.
Pretty sure that's their county flower is leafy spurge. But, no, we've had no problems. Chris and I talked, we're gonna probably spray up to the end of July because it's plants are still actively growing. They haven't really, and they're starting to seed out a little bit. There is, I was talking to Jim yesterday, and he was out of spot, and there's actually 3 different levels of leafy spurge growing. There's brand new growth, there's right in the middle before seed, just not to true flower yet, and then the ones that are at the point where they're gonna seed out. So,
Crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Just with the moisture or something, the new seed must have germinated and it's at all 3 stages. And what the heck, what would be the best chemical to nail all 3 of them? You very seldom see that. I found the big patch with about a half acre of it. And I'm like, what the hell?
I've never seen that before.
I have never seen it either, but yeah, it happens. I mean, it's just, you know, perfect storm for perfect year. Just like, you know, Craig can attest to this too. I mean, for some reason, the Canada thistle woke up late this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we went and sprayed those roads, and then even Chris called me, he goes, Leon, I swear to God, I sprayed over 10. And I said, yeah, I know you did. I see that. He goes, now look at all the Canada thistle. I'm like, because it just, usually they coincide with each other. They come up at the same time, you know, wormwood, Canada thistle, leafy spurge, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I've seen a huge explosion of this one.
Yeah, so, but you know, it's not seeded out yet, so we still have a chance. So, like I said, Chris and I, talked, we're gonna do spraying up to the end of July, August 1. We're gonna just let it ride for a little bit. Because like the weeds go dormant and they're basically just sitting there, just waiting for their seed heads to pop. And once their seed heads pop, then they start trying to save themselves because I would say from my readings, about 90% of all, all our state prescribed noxious weeds are perennials or biennials. So they're trying to save themselves in the fall of the year. So, we're, I think we've got a good plan in place. And if you guys drive around, look at other counties, if you're out driving around.
Anything else, Brad?
No,
Thanks,
Brad,
Brad.
are you still spraying, like on the interstate for like wormwood and stuff like that?
you know, we'll probably go back through after Leon's rate, because, you know, of course, that's federally funded,
Right.
so we'll go back through those roads, like maybe after he kind of quit the county stuff, and go back through those. You know, at 83, I've been up and down that's pretty clean, but,
Yeah.
you know, some of the federally funded roads, it's really would hard to go back through and.
Yeah, as of right now, guys are mowing still and still cutting for hay.
Right.
So we kind of want to stay away from the major right of ways.
Yeah.
You guys are doing some of the township right of
We
ways right
just
now.
did Jolene yesterday.
Yeah,
And
so-
we had to wait there because they were,
Yeah, so we kind of want to shy away from that right now. So once we get in, once we go back in, it's gonna be a fall application on federal and state. So.
Yeah.
And county highways. So.
yeah, all the major county,
Yeah.
town to home.
Yep, so we're gonna redo that, so as of right now, it's all been mowed, so.
Yes.
You know, so we don't, it's kind of fruitless to go through and spray at something that's mowed, we gotta give it a couple weeks to regenerate, so.
What else have you got? Yeah.
Motor controls are out, I've got a lot of compliance on those controls, like I said before, other than that, it's been going pretty smooth, average about, 30 to 50 phone calls a day, which are, like I said, I write them all down, so.
That time of year.
Well, it is that time of year, and you have to gear yourself up for it, I get phone calls at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I still answer the phone, it was, you gotta be under the summation that these guys are old farmers or whatever, or landowners that probably worked all day and have to have somebody, they wanna call when they get back in from doing whatever they were doing, and I'm completely fine with that.
I gotta tell you that, I've had a couple of dozen calls, that have told me that you're is more responsive than anybody else they've ever dealt with as a weed control officer. So I just wanted to let you know that the people of the public appreciate that too. So,
One thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, I don't know, it's something that we can talk about this winter. Since we do have a lot of, like little homes that are in little, I don't know, guys call them cul-de-sacs or whatever, or
well, the small subdivision.
subdivisions or whatnot. We have a ton in the community, in the county, that haven't been annexed by the city yet. And I guess I shouldn't say that I feel bad, but when I go out and write them a notice of control, I really don't give them a backup, because the stuff that we use and the monies that we get from the state, we cannot help them offset their cost. So when they have to spray that, they have to, that's on all of their own cost. And our job is that we want to get rid of noxious weeds. So I don't know if we want to go forward in the future and just have, like, I don't want to spray them, and I know Brad doesn't want to spray them, but have a chemical that we can offer them at a reduced price, like Cost-Share Trimec or something that is good for turf and ornamental, because all the chemicals that we use right now is right away, range and pasture, and that's all we use, and we can't legally sell it to them. I've gotten people that have called me like left and right from the city or one of them subdivisions are like, oh, they sold it to me in the past. I said, I get that, but we can't do that. It's against the law, so.
The farms, the farm stores all sell Trimac.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think those people should be responsible for their own, so I do,
Well, and it's a small tract. They're looking at an acre or so, but
part of owning something.
yeah. But like in that same breath though, these farmers own their land too, but we're helping them out.
But that's
in
all
my
the programs
past life,
designed for,
We
though.
had lots of these people with their 1 or 2 acres
Yeah.
come into my past life and buy these Trimac and the 2,4-D and stuff, so.
Yeah.
A lot of them actually do know what to do,
Yeah,
and then there's some that Could give a,
But you know, we have, thing you have to look at is one of our biggest problems we had, and Brad, you were involved in this too, and we were getting these calls as they're expanding out. We get all these people that all of a sudden they're out in the country and then they're complaining because the land right next to them is cropland and there's weeds along the edge of the field.
Right.
And they're calling us out to look at these weeds. Well, hey, you're out in the country now.
Yep.
You know, you're gonna have this kind of stuff. You got cropland right next to your property, it joins your land.
Yeah, you got gophers and snakes and rabbits.
Exactly. So this is not in town. So a lot of these people, they moved from town. They don't know what to do. They've never had this issue before. So maybe they need to be educated somehow or some way to entice them to do it. Maybe there is an option where, I don't know if we legally can do it, where we could give them a cost share on like something like Trimex or something. I don't know if we can legally do it.
And the only reason I bring that up is because those are the biggest problem areas that I'm seeing. As far as farmers and ranchers are going, I mean, their stewardship practices, they've been doing it for years. Obviously, sometimes it gets out of control and that's, that's no fault of their own, they're just, I mean, they get behind. Everybody gets behind. Everybody makes mistakes. And I get that. And I'm here. And so when I send out a notice of control, like the Fed, what did I send with it? I sent that LAP program.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So on one hand, I slap you, and on the other hand, I say, hey, we're here to help. We want to help. So, and I don't have that in those subdivisions. I can't say, like, when I get them, and to me, I think the compliance rate in those subdivisions, if I don't say anything, or we don't have something to help them, I think that's where we're gonna run into them not taking care of it, but.
Can you check with Richard to see if that's legal?
Yeah.
For us as a weed board?
Yeah.
Because I realize that might be an option to help them. Like I say, a lot of them, most of them are newbies from the city that
or
moved
make
out.
them aware anyway.
Right, but if we could offer them a chemical that you could get a little reduced, it wouldn't have to be like we're selling a Milestone for 25 and it costs you 100 at the elevator. It wouldn't have to be something that big, but I mean, if we legally can do that it's kind of a version of where we're using government money to help somebody that's selling residential, but it's out in the country is an issue.
Yeah.
So see if we legally could do that once, and then maybe it wouldn't be a bad option.
I don't think it would be a problem with Richard, being the fact that it is a county problem, and I just don't want to, because you walk in like, Misty Waters, for example.
Best example you could use.
Holy crap.
That's a mess down there.
It's out of control down there. I mean, every little lot that you go into, every side road, there's
there on Saturday.
yeah, there's weeds everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and to brag on Misty Waters, actually, everybody that I grew up in Misty Waters has contacted me. Either had a OSI come out, or they've had another contractor come out to spray it, or they've come in and got chemical from me. So, I mean, I really can't complain on them, because now that they're aware of it, they're taking care of it. Because there's one guy that got chemical from me just because it wasn't zone residential. It was a big pasture that he had. So other than that, they're just having somebody go out and take care of it. So. Anything else, Brad? Nope. Good.
Okay. 2024 proposed budget update.
Obviously, you've seen this, Commissioner slide is, as of right now, this is the proposed budget. You guys just had a meeting on, was it Wednesday or Thursday?
Pardon me,
Was it Wednesday or Thursday that you guys had your budget meeting?
I don't know if it was a budget meeting,
It was an all-day meeting though.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. It was an all-day meeting anyways. So, I don't know if everybody's got it, yeah. As of right now, salaries are at 69,793. Fringe benefits are at 14,331. Building rental will stay at 48. Travel and lodgings at 2,000. Printing and publishing is at 15 still. News and publications are at 500. We increased it from that. It was at 250 before, so we increased it to that 500. Repairs, we're at 2,500. Contracted services, we're at 5,000 just in case, something happens where we need somebody to contract services with. And as you can see, the 22, like, see what we spent on contracted service before was 20,450. I mean, that's kind of crazy. County services, nothing. Office supplies at 500, postage at 250. We went down from 400, 400 proposed in the last biennium, or last year to this year. Fuel and oil, we want, actually, we stayed the same, yeah, 4,000. Miscellaneous, we went up from 2,000 to 4,000 because we found out that that's where all our phone bills are coming out of under miscellaneous, because we called the, actually we went up from 1,600 because we were always over budget. So we went up to 4,000 because our, all our phones and everything else like that, NRG, everything else comes out of miscellaneous for some reason. They don't have a line item as something else. So if anybody asks what our miscellaneous is, that's our phones, our NRG contract, and computer stuff, all the computer stuff, internet, yada, yada, yada. So continuing education at 1,000, chemicals we kept at 100,000, and spraying we kept at 185,000. We are adding a line item just for board meetings. For the simple fact, Jim and Greg and I, we talked about it quite a bit. What's happening is it's coming. So we have to, when we write in, like, so if you notice, like on your voucher, when we write your voucher, on the top here, we have to take it on 2 different line items. So right now, we're taking it out of salaries and travel. So we add it all up and we figure out what it costs if we had everybody here monthly for all the meetings plus travel. And we came to a little bit less than 7,000, but we added something for, if we form a committee or whatnot, then we can have, money set aside to that, additional money set aside for those committees and whatnot. So obviously not every year we're gonna use that 7,000, but it's nice to have that in a separate line item just for board meetings. So we don't have to steal from here and steal from there, just, I guess not steal.
Well,
Use a line item here and use a line item there.
Nice to have that detail as well.
Yeah, and it's just, it's something to add more transparency
Right.
to everybody, so.
Agreed.
So, right now, so our budget's at 402, 174. So,
Questions? Comments by Commissioner Schwab?
Not right now.
Thanks, appreciate that. So that's the proposed budget,
that is,
just waiting for the commission to approve.
yep, there's, I think there's 2 more meetings before the,
Adoption.
for the adoption of the
Okay.
budget. So there's 2 more meetings that they have to go through. Obviously, just to fine tune everything and make sure.
By
everybody's-
the way, I voted against.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw that in the paper this morning.
How in the hell do you ask for a 10 mil increase when you're gonna give revenue streams to the downtowners again?
Oh, you're talking about,
Oh, the-
oh, you're talking
the
about the
overall
total,
budget.
oh, the total
And it's
budget.
all mixed in the budget.
I said,
And there's no way I'm gonna go for that.
like, watch, we didn't ask for 10 mils more. I'm like, wait a second.
Well, they wanna raise, the county wants to raise up 10 mils.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And if we got money to give away to the downtowners, the slush fund, well, then I can't vote for it.
We don't even get invited to the parties.
No, you don't. And the thing about it is,
Got a motion? Thanks.
if they come along with that chip deal,
Have a great day. See you in a month.
we put so much money in downtown
Thanks.
and they brought false information as far as
Thank you.
concerning the meeting. If you follow and watch the meeting, what I said is true. So when this budget hearing comes up, what they want to do is capture the revenue streams of future building downtown from Burleigh County. I'm tired of that. And what they do is they take everything that's been done downtown and lump it and say, well, this Renaissance zone has created $94 million in investment. And of course, our tax dollars are going into this TIP fund, which is the true thing. The thing you guys gotta remember about this when you watch it. The TIF zone is the one that captures most money. And that money flows back into downtown. The Renaissance Authority, Renaissance Zone has no money. Its only purpose is to get tax breaks. And take money from the county and give it to the downtowners. And from the other political entities. It doesn't create jobs, it doesn't create nothing. And they come along with this BS that, well, it did, without that, 700 jobs created, but they never say how many of them jobs are gone now. So the thing is, this budget is in there. Then we have to vote, well, you know, it's kind of like voting against the budget. But I'm not gonna vote to give them people downtown or anything. Not that they brought fraudulent information in, I call them out on it. And they try to work around it, you know, it's Renaissance Zone. That, or the TIF zone, basically how it works, they give out money to the developers down there. And then the developers invest in buildings, and then they say, well, private investment, well, it wasn't, it was taxpayer investment, things like that. So you understand why I'll probably vote against it.
Thanks for your comments. We're a little bit behind schedule. Let's, do we have any, discussion, board members?
I have one thing, will you guys think of moving to Tom Baker room?
Well, that, we tabled that till the next meeting.
Because,
Because we got these owls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's a bad move.
Yeah, we do too.
I do too.
Oh, and I'm gonna tell you what, you can't get a damn parking place down there. You wanna walk 3
Well-
blocks, fine, but don't do it.
The other
Yeah.
part of it is,
This is done now. This is
Yeah.
what we needed.
yeah, exactly.
This is it.
Just our little secretary to take the minutes.
You're gonna have to have that in the Tom Baker room too, even if it's video.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second, all in favor?
Yeah.
We're adjourned. Thanks, Brad.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Appreciate you coming.
Here's another thing that we should have brought up, and I think I know the answer to the rest. On the county commission,